What's going on, y'all? It's your boy No Credit, and I'm back again with another one. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos like this. That being said, let's get into it. Terence Crawford, man. This is a guy that deserves way more credit than what he gets. This is a guy that he put his city on his back. You understand what I'm saying? Like he literally put a city on his back. Like, all the promoters, because he was signed with somebody else before Bob Arum, they all wanted him to fight in all these other cities, and he refused to. He wanted to stay in his city. He wanted to start a gym in his city. He wanted to do everything in Omaha, Nebraska. He put Nebraska on the map. You understand? A lot of people didn't know a lot of famous people from Nebraska until Terence Crawford started repping it. Then everybody else started repping it. They all started coming out saying, "Oh, I'm from Nebraska. Yeah, because Crawford's repping Nebraska. Warren Buffett, I didn't even know Warren Buffett was from Nebraska. Another UFC fighter, I forget his name, he's a heavyweight, he's from Nebraska. I didn't know he was from Nebraska until I seen him at Terence Crawford's gym. Gabrielle Union, I didn't know she was from Nebraska until she gave Terence Crawford a shout out one time. Gabrielle Union, I didn't know she was from Nebraska. There's a lot of people that I didn't know was from Nebraska until Terence Crawford started putting his city on the map. I mean, this guy, he stood 10 toes down and repped his city till the wheels fall off. This is how you really put your city on the map. In the city of Philadelphia, we always talk about putting our city on the map, meaning like bringing a lot of exposure and clout to our city. You know, it's a big thing in the city of Philadelphia where we talk about, man, I'm the one to put the city on the map. I'm the one to put the city on my back. I'm the one I'm carrying it, meaning I'm bringing a lot of eyes to the city. I'm the one everybody talking about. I'm the one, when they talk Philly, they talk about me. That's what we try to do in Philly. When somebody catch some buzz in Philly, they carry it. They stand on business. They put their city on their back. You know, they rep Philly everywhere they go. And that's what Terence Crawford did for Nebraska, man. You can't talk about somebody famous from Nebraska without talking about Terence Crawford. You can't talk about Nebraska without talking about Terence Crawford. This guy has his own street. I mean, he has his own street. He has his own day. I mean, what don't he have in the city of Nebraska? He has land. He has his own land. They sold him the land that his gym is on for $1. I mean, they gave him the key to the city. You know, when they threw that parade for him after the Earl Spence fight, everybody in the city came out. I mean, it was one of the biggest parades you will ever see. The man really carried his city. The promoters wanted Terence Crawford to fight outside of Nebraska, Omaha. He said, no, I know I could fight outside my city and do well, but I want to do well in my city first before I go anywhere else. And that's what's up. Most people, when a promoter comes to them, most boxers, when a promoter comes to them and tell them, hey, listen, we want you to fight outside of your city. We want you to fight here. We want you to fight there. Most boxers would be so happy to do that. Crawford, he didn't want to do that. You know, Crawford tried to stay low key. He tried to fight in his city, you know, as long as he could, because he know when he got big, you know, everybody's going to know who he is when he goes outside of Omaha, Nebraska. He just wanted to be known in his city first before he could cross over. You know, he tried to do that for as long as he could, but because he kept winning and he kept winning in dominant fashion, eventually he would have to cross over. That's when he started doing the interviews. He started coming out more. You know, I know the guy just want to live a normal life. He's just too good at boxing that it's impossible for him to live a normal life. You know, this is why I myself probably won't box, because I want to live a normal life. I want to be able to go to the grocery store without people trying to take pictures with me. I want to be able to go to the grocery stores without people trying to take pictures with me. I want to be able to go to the mall without people recognizing me all the time. You know, I just want to be able to enjoy my family without somebody coming to me. Let me get an autograph. Let me get a picture. One person do it, the entire mall is going to do it, And that's what Terence Crawford tried to avoid for years, but eventually he would have to take that spotlight because he kept winning, and he kept winning in dominant fashion. So eventually he would have to oblige and, play his role if he wanted to make that big bucks. And that's what he did. But in doing that, he still brought the big fights back to Nebraska, man. Omaha, Nebraska has a loyal resident in Terence Bud Crawford, man. Omaha, Nebraska has something special, man. Shit, I wish we had a Terence Crawford from Philly, That would be awesome. If Terence Crawford was from Philly, Because the city of Philadelphia would love a guy like Bud. Because one thing about Bud is he's laid back, he don't smoke, he don't drink, and he's all about boxing. And he's a cool dude. He's a chill, laid back dude. Like when I go to the gym, bro. When I go to the gym and I talk to all the old heads in my gym, like the older trainers, they all love Bud. They all got something good to say about Bud. Only the new fighters and then only the young folks and the young bucks got something negative to say about Bud because they were fans of Earl Spence Jr. They've been following that saga. They were fans of Earl Spence Jr. They're fans of Jerron Ennis. So they got something negative. That's the only reason why they got something negative to say about Bud. But what does Bud do that makes you want to say anything negative? The guy is a consummate professional. He does everything he's supposed to do day in and day out. The guy is even starting camps early, bro. This guy is the true definition of what the pinnacle of boxing should look like. He represents the sport at the highest level. He puts so much respect and emphasis on the sport. He makes boxing fun again. He makes you want to take the sport of boxing serious. When we look at a guy like Adrian Broner, he makes you want to say, yeah, this is what boxing is not about. But when you look at a guy like Bud Crawford, his dedication, his motivation, every time he fights, he finds something to motivate him. He gets a chip on his shoulder and he's motivated by it. Like when they put him down in the pound for pound rankings, he's like, yo, my next fight, I got to outdo this other guy to get my number one spot back. You understand what I'm saying? So Bud Crawford, day in and day out, finds a way to motivate himself to get up every day and go to the gym and do what he needs to do to put on for the sport because he wants to be like the Kobe Bryant or the Michael Jordan of boxing. He's never satisfied. He's always hungry. I remember when Andre Ward was still fighting and Bud was still fighting. Andre Ward was number one pound for pound. And Andre Ward knew that Terence Crawford wanted that number one spot. And when Terence Crawford became undisputed, Andre Ward said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give the spotlight to my young boy. I'm going to go ahead and give the spotlight to my young boy, Terence Crawford, because this guy, he's hungry for it. I don't want to be in competition with Bud. If I do something, he going to try to do something. He going to try to outdo me. He's a very competitive dude. So Andre Ward, he had already done what he needed to do in the sport of boxing. So he was like, man, I done so much in the sport of boxing. Why not retire with all my faculties? Why not retire early and leave it up to Terence Crawford? Let it be the Terence Crawford era. I had my chance. I had my shot. I had my glory. I've been pound for pound number one. I'm going to pass the torch to Terence Bud Crawford. And that's when Andre Ward, he passed the torch to Bud. Bud was number one. But then the boxing public wasn't satisfied with Bud being number one. They tried putting guys like Vasyl Lomachenko on top of Bud. Then he got whooped. Then they tried putting, now they trying to put Oleksandr Usyk. They just they just keep bringing these dudes up out of nowhere. And no disrespect to Usyk, he's one of the best I've ever seen. But then they bring out a new way. They pulling these guys out of nowhere, bro. They bring up a new way. They trying to put these guys at number one when there's only one number one in the sport of boxing, and that's Terence Bud Crawford. None of these guys can tie his shoes. None of these guys can do what he's done for the last decade. He's been the only guy to be on that pound-for-pound list for 10 plus years. You understand what I'm saying? A whole freaking decade dominating the pound-for-pound rankings. And even at the age of 36, going on 37, he's still dominating, man. But once again, shout out to Terence Bud Crawford. If you from Omaha, y'all have somebody special, man, because this guy represents what it's like. He represents what Omaha is all about, man. Y'all some real dudes. You understand what I'm saying? Because this guy, if I didn't know what Omaha brought to the table, I would assume something. But because of that image that Terence Crawford brings to the table, and I have seen, I got a whole lot of respect for Omaha. Just off of this one guy. This guy showed me that Omaha has some real dudes. You understand what I'm saying? Real dudes that are about their business just because they're in the middle of nowhere and we don't know nothing about them. But when one of them rises to the top, that's when we know their story. We know that, hey, there's some real dudes in the middle of nowhere in a city called Omaha, Nebraska. And those dudes, they doing their thing out there. And those dudes, they could fight. You know, they got a lot going on. They're smart. They're businessmen. You know, sometimes we forget about all these other places because we don't know a lot. We forget about all those other places because we don't know a lot of celebrities that come from those places. When it takes a guy like Bud Crawford to come from a place like that to open our eyes and for us to see that boxing just doesn't revolve around certain cities. Boxing is not just based off of Philly, New York, Texas, because those are the major cities. But boxing is all over the United States. I remember watching Terence Crawford versus Gamboa fight, and Larry Merchant was like, man, this fight, we got one guy who comes from a city where no boxers come from, in Omaha, Nebraska. And we got another guy in Uriokis, Gamboa, who comes from a place where a lot of great boxers come from. So this fight is going to tell us, he was pretty much saying Gamboa was about to smoke Terence Crawford. He was pretty much saying Gamboa was about to smoke Bud. He said we got one guy who's the champion but comes from a place where no boxers come from, in Omaha, Nebraska. And we got another guy in Uriokis, Gamboa, who comes from a place where a lot of boxers come from. When I heard that from Larry Merchant, I was like, yo, Larry Merchant crazy. And then after Terence Crawford stopped Uriokis, Gamboa, Larry Merchant said, Terence Crawford has become an American star in his hometown, Omaha, Nebraska. That fight was electric, man. That was one of the most electrifying fights I've ever seen, bro. The energy for that fight, Gamboa was supposed to be the next best thing. A lot of people try to take credit from Gamboa, talking about, oh, Gamboa is too small. Gamboa was supposed to be that bull. He was supposed to be the Inoue, the Pacquiao before the Inoues. Well, Pacquiao was before Gamboa, but he was supposed to be the Inoue before Inoue. That's who Gamboa was. This guy was an Olympic gold medalist. He was supposed to be the Vasil Lomachenko before Vasil Lomachenko. You understand what I'm saying? Gamboa was that bull. But a lot of people try to take credit from that win. Crawford was supposed to lose that fight. You heard what I said, what Larry Merchant said. We got one guy in Terence Crawford who comes from a place where no boxers come from. And we got another guy in Yuriokis Gamboa who comes from a place where a lot of boxers come from, Cuba. You understand what I'm saying? That fight, Bud was supposed to lose that fight. Gamboa was supposed to become a 4-division world champion. But Terence Crawford, he spoiled Gamboa plans. He spoiled his plans. And Terence Crawford, ever since that Gamboa fight, that's the fight that won everybody over. And now even the Errol Spence fight just took it over the moon. Now nobody can doubt this dude. Only the Earl sexuals are still in denial. Still trying to find reasons to hate on Bud. Still trying to find reasons to hate on this man. They jumped the bandwagon. Now they're on a guy from my city who I didn't even know who he was until 2022 in Jerron Boots Ennis. I didn't even know. We're in 2024. I didn't even know who this guy was until 21, 22, bro. Like, are you guys serious? This guy just started making noise. He just started making noise when he started mentioning Bud and Earl. Knowing dang well he never wanted wanted that smoke with them guys. He always knew he was going to get a free belt. The only thing he has done in the sport of boxing was tell the IBF to get his name and his address correct to mail him his belt. But anyway, Terence Crawford is that bull, man. I just want to give a shout out to everybody from Omaha. Man, y'all got a special individual that really put on for the city of Omaha, man. And y'all should be happy to have a guy like that to represent y'all city, because he's been nothing but great for the sport of boxing. And we appreciate everything about Bud Crawford. And the fact that he's been a consummate professional from day one till now, showing boxing fans how to live a life of a boxer day in and day out. And we respect that. It's your boy, No Credit. I'm out.